So if you're anything like me, you're probably wondering what the fuck is going on in this clip, and I think I found the answer. This is a clip taken from a recent True Solo video jsat did playing as the Sister of the Thorn, but I've also seen this technique be used in another video of his where he plays Handmaiden. The first thing I did after watching these videos was pee over the comment section, hoping for some sort of clarification as to what was going on. But I found nothing there except some speculation about swapping weapons somehow doing something to the effective dodge count or the cooldown between dodges. This lack of answers only made me more curious as to what was really happening, so I went ahead and asked the Grandmaster of Modding himself, Encan, if he had any clue about what was going on, and this is what he replied. After such a strong reminder of why we don't pay him, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I simply had to know what jsat was doing. So I took off my big boy pants, I started the game, and I got to work. This isn't even an exaggeration. That's literally how I started testing for the double dodging thing. I would just mash my dodge key while frantically swapping between weapons at first. I would just roll the scroll wheel around, and then I would throw in a couple Q cancels, more Q cancels, and just hope for the best. And after a few minutes of flailing around like a complete retard, I found something. So what I found out is that there's actually two movement techniques that are tied to this weapon swapping and dodging business. And I think jsat only uses one of them though. The first one is a sort of double dodge that you can do. And to do it, you need to be holding your weapon with the lower dodge count. You're going to be dodging on it, and then you're going to be very quickly swapping to your weapon with a higher dodge count and dodging again, and it lets you bypass the dodge cooldown. So if you want to dodge normally, it's like dodge, dodge, right? But if you do the trick, it's actually much faster. That second dodge is going to be coming out super fast. This in and of itself is useful, and it can be comboed at the end of multi-dodging. There's two like immediately evident applications for this. The number one is if you're holding your range weapon and something's going to come and hit you in the ass, instead of just swapping to melee and blocking and dodging, what you can do is perform your initial dodge with your range weapon, then you swap, then you dodge while you're blocking, and you're going to be in the same sort of position of being blocking, but you're going to be much further away from the bad man than you otherwise would be. And that's use number one. That, of course, implies that you have a higher dodge count on your melee weapon than on your range weapon. But for some situations, I'm actually not going to show this on Elf. I'm going to show this on the Dwarf, because the Dwarf is a good example. So you're playing Masterwork, and there's some specials in the Horde, or a boss you'd like to start DPSing that's somewhere, or more so specials. And you want to be putting extra space between you and the bad guys. Well, what you can do is you can push, dodge, swap to your pistol, dodge immediately after, and you basically got a free dodge right after a push. That lets you put some more space between you and the enemy, and since you have such a high dodge count, you can like keep dodging afterwards. And yeah, there you go. Two main uses of this, depending on which of your two weapons has the higher dodge count. So that's double dodging. And the other technique is something I've called multi-dodging. And you can then combo double dodging on top of it, although it isn't necessary. From what I understand, from what I've seen jsat do, it involves equipping your weapon with the lower dodge count, dodging on it, QQing, and dodging again. I don't know why this works, but it does. And it actually does something to the slowdown period you have after dodging when you swap to the weapon with more dodges, as you can see. This might be weapon dependent. I haven't tested every character and every weapon combination at all, so this requires more testing, but you can clearly see that when I dodge with my bow and then I grab my sword and dagger, the sort of slowdown period that happens after a dodge goes away. And this might play a role into why this works. So the multi-dodging is very simple in theory, but to pull off is actually quite difficult. You're gonna be chaining these Q cancel dodges together, and when you're at the end of how many dodges you can perform on your low dodge count weapon, you perform a double dodge. You're gonna swap back to your higher weapon count, dodge count weapon, and you're gonna be dodging. So if I don't fuck it up, it looks like this. I'm doing it a bit slowly, hold on. So yeah, it is pretty difficult. It seems more difficult to do on certain weapons than others, as I've said. It seems to be, if your weapons can dodge far enough, a very good movement technique in terms of pure speed. And you are, dodging like 4 times, so you are relatively safe from enemy attacks. And you might notice I'm only moving to the right. That's because my weapon swap key is Q, so moving left while doing Q cancels over and over is just not an option. But, yeah. I mean, you can see that you can do it really fast. But it is somewhat difficult, but as you can tell, it is much faster than the regular dodges that you can do. And that's pretty much the trick. I hope you've learned something. I certainly have while making this. Even though I do not fully understand what's going on here, hopefully we're gonna figure that out. Someone much more technically versed in the deep mechanics of Vermintide is gonna come and clear this up. Maybe jsat himself. Who knows? Okay, bye. So, after making the video, I immediately jumped onto different characters to sort of test out what you could do with double dodging and multi-dodging, like what weapons worked and what weapons didn't work. And so I collected these little clips. So in the beginning, you can see me as an engineer performing multi-dodging pretty much perfectly. And then on Kruber, I attempted to use a shield weapon and a blunderbuss, and I could not get either a double dodge or a multi-dodge going, no matter how hard I tried. Which to me pretty much confirms that these two techniques are very weapon dependent, not just in how efficient they are, but in just being able to pull them off at all. And so after that, I swapped to handgun and greatsword, and immediately I noticed that multi-dodging is very difficult, but double dodging is quite fast. Like, you can see going from the handgun to the greatsword and dodging immediately after is noticeably faster, but multi-dodging isn't very efficient. And so after that, I replaced the greatsword with the arming sword, and noticeably, immediately, multi-dodging becomes much, much easier, and double dodging is just as efficient. No surprise there, going to an agile weapon like the arming sword from the greatsword. But I tested out something very surprising right after this by using the Bretonnian longsword. And this sword produced some very surprising results. I was having a very easy time performing both the multi-dodges and double dodges with it, and handgun. Which you would not expect, considering the sort of heft of the weapon, I guess. And I'll end the little clip collection by what I think is a near-perfect multi-dodge with the Brett longsword. I'm gonna play it again. Just very surprising agility coming from that weapon. Okay. This time, bye-bye, for real.